Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Productive Attorney. My name is Jim Zeta. I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking about something that everybody deals with every day, and that's work-life balance. Some people don't like that term, work-life balance, because they say you live your life and work is part of your life and whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say work-life balance. I'll give you, as always, I start out with a war story as to work-life balance. I usually do a current event or I do something that is happened in the past. And on work-life balance, I'll start out with a story in the past. There is a yearbook that I carry with me, one of my high school yearbooks that I carry with me that's water damaged. And I take it with me from every job I have and every office I have. And it reminds me of an event that occurred when I was a young attorney. I worked at a large law firm and I was an associate there. And there was a day I had a boss that was extremely difficult to work for. And it was a Saturday, and a pipe had burst in my apartment because there was an ice storm. And that ice storm caused me all kinds of problems there because all my whole apartment flooded. There was a project that we were working on at the office. There was a brief that was being worked on. It wasn't due for a couple weeks. The partner had drafted most of it, and he wanted case law to support many of the points in his brief. He wanted me to get those cases, and back in the late 80s, early 90s, you actually had to physically go into the books themselves and make copies of those cases and highlight them. And there were 25. I remember there were 25 points he wanted me to get cases for. And I called him at 8 on Saturday morning and said that I would not be able to come in until the afternoon because a pipe had burst in my house, and my house was, my apartment was under 4 inches of water, plus the roads had all frozen. And I had at that time a car that did not travel well on icy roads. And he said, no, you have to come in. And so I left a flooded apartment, and drove on roads where I spun out twice. But was able to make it in. I worked that day until midnight that night. I worked till midnight. I got all the 24 points done. I put them in 25 separate envelopes or folders into one big red rope and put it on the corner of his desk. I came home to find many of my things in my apartment were ruined. One of those things included that yearbook. A lot of my stuff got moldy from it, and it was a nightmare. 2 weeks later, about 3 or 4 days before the brief was due, I came into his office, and that red rope with all those folders was still sitting right there. He hadn't looked at it. And it was a power play. It was nothing but a power play from an attorney who was just wanting to show what his world was and that he could make an associate do what he wanted to. When I was there at that firm, I was an associate who worked hard. I worked too hard. I did not have a good work-life balance. They had sheets that would come out with associates' hours, with the amounts that they collected, and with the amounts of files that they had originated, cases that they'd brought in. And I was routinely near the top of that list on the hours billed, on the money brought in, and on the originations. I worked really hard. And I used to think that partners would look at these, what we called hero sheets, to see who was the best there and how they couldn't do without me. That I was this incredible business generator, that I brought in a lot of money, and that I was indispensable to the firm. And I thought that this firm was my forever firm, that I was never going to leave. And then 5 years into being with that firm, the partner that I was working with, a new partner, was going to leave. And that new partner, when he left, said that he would like me to come with him. And I said, well, this is kind of my firm. I like it here. Let me see what they say. And one of the members of the executive committee came in and told me that they didn't think that they would have enough work for me with that partner leaving. What they didn't know, if they would have researched, they would have known. What they didn't know is I had pretty much enough business to keep myself busy from clients that I developed over 5 years. They may have realized that in the next couple hours, but right after the partner came in and told me that, the executive committee, I went down the hall and told the partner who was leaving that I would be happy to go with him. that I appreciate the offer and that I was going to go with him. About 2 hours later, another member of the executive committee came into my office and said, "We'd like you to stay." And I said, "How can that be? Someone just walked to my office 2 hours ago and said there was no room." And I said, and I left, and now you're here saying you want me. And they said, "Oh, we said we want you." Sorry about that. But now I said, no, I decided to go. And it was that point, that day, I'll remember it like it was yesterday, even though it was 27 years ago. It was that day I realized that they didn't care. They didn't care about the 200 billable hours I did. They didn't care about all the Saturdays and Sundays I worked. They didn't care about how much energy and time I put into the files and how much I did for client development and all the little things that I did to make the firm a better firm. They didn't care. All that they really cared about, and it's not something, I don't blame partners in law firms for doing that. I have a saying, never underestimate the greed of the American lawyer. If they feel like they're making money off of you and you're not causing them any problems, they don't, as long as they're making money off of you, they're fine. But if you leave and they can still continue to make the same money they make, they don't care. They really don't. And for the talk of a firm being a family and everybody in it together, that's just to keep the associates there that are working, in my opinion. I think there are firms where there's good camaraderie, and I had great camaraderie at the firm I was at. That's why I thought I'd stay there forever. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to whether or not they think you can make them money, they're going to show you the door. And the way that the system has been working in firms lately, where it's more and more difficult to become a partner, what law firms are what lawyers are realizing is that they don't have to stick around these firms. If you lawyers out there, especially younger lawyers, if you develop a book of business or you've got a specific skill, sell it. That firm has no loyalty to you, and you have no loyalty to that firm. And I hate to say that, you need to go out and look around, but they don't care about you. That's a hard thing to say when you're at a firm, but really, and I call it Fred Firm, meaning the firm itself, the entity. Fred Firm really doesn't care about you. If they care if you make money, God forbid you have an off year or you don't are productive as you used to, or you're having a little mental issue and you need a break, man, most firms aren't with you on that. And especially on the women's side, when a woman wants to go on maternity leave and other issues associated with that, a lot of firms pay lip service to how nice they're going to be with that, but in the end, they really aren't. So work-life balance, you've got this work and you pour all this energy in, and what I'm telling you is unless you work for yourself and you have goals that you're working towards, it's not as important to be there all the time that they think they need you to be there, and you can say no. If a partner comes to you with a dog of a case, you can say to the partner, I don't have time for this case. If your client comes to you, an existing client, and they come to you with a case that's not a very good case or a project that's not a very good project, you have every right and you should say, no, I don't want to do this. That's a way to keep a healthy work-life balance. When I was in high school, we would get points for athletics. We would get points or grades for academics, and then we'd have to go out and do charity work and social work. And so I've always put component of work-life balance into three areas: academic, athletic, and social. That's kind of the way I've looked at it. So academic, as you grow older, is your work. What's going on with your work? And with your work, what are the measurables at work? How do people typically measure how work is going? Really, the measurables that most people do is how much money do I make? That's easy. There's a number there. Also hours. How many hours do I work? That's a little more difficult because a lot of times when you're doing social things, you're doing them for your work, but they're also things that you like to do. So an example for me is soccer. I love playing soccer, but I do get business from it. So I don't think that's work. I think that's more athletic, under the athletic thing, but work can be hours can be kind of funny. And then victories or successes. And like most things, when you have a success, you celebrate it for a short period of time, and then you're on to the next case. But if you have a failure, if you lose a case or if you lose a client or things aren't going particularly well, you remember that for a long time. And that's where law can come in and beat you up. So there's your measurables. Your measurables in academic are hours, money, victories, and then you just have a general sense of, are you enjoying the cases that you're working on? Are you enjoying the clients that you're working with? Are you enjoying the projects that you're doing? Keeping in mind that it's work and you're making money, and that's to feed yourself, and if you have a family, to feed your family. What I used to call athletic, that's more now fitness and nutrition. Where are you at on fitness and nutrition? That's something that I spend a lot of time on. Fortunately now, as I've gotten older, I have the money to go ahead and seek out every professional that I can. So I have a nutritionist that I see 4 times a year. I have a lady who does, it's called myofascial release, but it's really nothing more than heavy massage, almost a physical training or physical therapy massage, which hurts a lot. And I get those done once a week. I used to do CrossFit, but that beat up my body, so I do yoga. And as y'all know, I love to play soccer. I run, I lift. Athletics and fitness is really an important part of my life. It's an escape. It helps me get out. It makes me feel better. It makes me look better. And it's just been a part of my life. It's been a core value of my life the whole time. There are lawyers who don't like that, who don't enjoy fitness, and that's fine if you don't enjoy, the athletic type of stuff that I do. But if you're going to have the workload of a lawyer, you've got to do something to keep yourself in shape, whether that's walking or I've heard lawyers do all kinds of things in order to get the escape and to keep themselves in shape. You need to do that. And then nutrition. There's 2 aspects to nutrition. And one, there's just unhealthy living, and that's almost dangerous living with drugs and alcohol. And that's a whole nother world that I'm not going to go into right now. But then there's just what you eat every day. And I'm a big believer in that what you drink is a huge component of whether or not you gain weight, a huge component of empty calories. So, for example, if you drink soda or alcohol, those go down quick, and those are heavy calories. So for me personally, and most people aren't like this, I know a lot of people drink coffee. I don't even drink coffee. I drink water. And I will put electrolytes in the water through a tablet called Nuun, N-U-U-N. But that's all I drink. Occasionally, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I'll have a soda. But to me, it's just not worth it. So if you don't drink alcohol, you don't do illegal drugs, you don't drink sodas, you are way ahead of the game. And you just have to find an outlet through some sort of nutrition. And then, of course, there's always everybody's kind of number that they can mark, and that's your weight. And the way I've found to modify weight, I use an app called Lose It, L-O-S-E-I-T. And the only way that I found to really, truly lose weight is to input what you eat into the Lose It app. There's millions of apps out there where you can input the food that you eat on a daily basis. But if you input your food, and it's a pain in the ass, just like billing, if you're an hourly biller, it's a pain in the ass. But if you input it and you start to see the amount of calories that you're wasting in a given day, you can go ahead and limit your calories. Now, just as a quick, I'm a math guy, 3,500 calories is a pound. So if you burn 2,000 to 2,100 calories a day, and you don't do any exercise, and you want to lose a pound a week, you've got to lose 700 calories a day. You have to have a deficit of 700 calories. So if you're burning 2,100 calories a day, you can only eat 1,400 calories. And I will tell you, 1,400 calories can go by really, really quick. So, that's the math as to how to lose a pound. Now, if you exercise and you get an extra 400 or 500 calories in exercise, well, then you can lose that weight quicker. And that way you can lose 1.5 pounds. Most is 2 pounds a week if you're really, really pushing it. But most people, 1 pound a week is about what you can do. And so that's nutrition. Obviously, eat all the micronutrients. If you get down to that level, make sure you have a nice balance of protein and carbohydrates and fat. 40-30-30 is what most people recommend. And those apps can break those down for you too. So that's the nutrition side of it. And trying to stay on top of that. You'll get loose with it sometimes, and don't beat yourself up when you do. Just get back into it and watch your weight. I weigh myself every day. I record it every day. I watch the trends. And so that's how you keep it on nutrition. And then social. So social is what you do when you're not working, when you're not sleeping, and when you're not doing athletics or fitness. So what is that? What is it that makes you happy? And that's where I talk about to my sons, and I talk to everybody, find your tribes. What is it? What's your group? What's the tribe that you like, what you enjoy? So in my world right now, my tribes have always been my family. So my wife and my 2 sons, that's my primary tribe. And most people, that will be your primary tribe, your significant other and your families. A secondary tribe for me would be my soccer team. My soccer team and my teammates that I played with, many of them I played 25, 30 years. And those guys, when I go and see them, they're like almost as close as family to me because I've known them so long. And when you play soccer, you're going through the wars with them, and I don't mean to use the term war in any way to compare it to people who've actually fought in war. But what I mean is you're put in a position in a game where you're under pressure, and when you're under pressure, you tend to find out what a person's like. There's an old saying, you can tell the character of a man by how he plays soccer. And so when someone's put under pressure, when a team is better than you, how you react to that. When you're winning and you're winning by a little bit, how you react to that. And then when you win by a lot, how classy are you? How do you treat the other team? You know, those types of things you can see a character in a person. And the people that I hang out with, the people that I play soccer with, are people who I've known for 20, 25 years and have proved themselves time and time again in these games as to what kind of character and what kind of humans they are. And so it's so much fun to see them on a weekly basis and to play soccer with them. Right now I'm doing yoga at a company called Core Power Yoga. I've been doing that for about 4 years, and that group has kind of been a little tribe for me. I get to know the people over there. They're very, very nice. You get to know the instructors. You get to know some of your classmates when you go over there. A good friend of mine is the one that got me into it. He still goes, so we've become very close. That's another little tribe for me. My office staff, I have 2 lawyers, 3 staff people who work for me. The 6 of them, that's a tribe for me, and I come and see them every day, and they're really nice people. And then I've just got a general group of friends that I've made over the years that I can call and talk to and hang out with them. And really, you can have, I also have CrossFit, which I used to do, and there's a group of guys that I did CrossFit with that we did it together for years, and I'll go back there occasionally and see them, and that's another tribe I have. So if some people who get into CrossFit say CrossFit is a cult. For me, it's just a group of people that have a common interest that get together and do things and that they really enjoy it. And I don't consider, I'm not a member of CrossFit formally, but I don't consider that athletic endeavor with other people at that level. But that's what I feel like are my tribes. And when my boys went off to college, I told them, find your tribes. Find the groups of people that you get along with that have common interests, that you like them and you like their character. And that's your goal as an attorney. Find your tribe. If you are like reading, find people who like to read similar things to you. If you're a bar junkie and you enjoy going to bar events or being on committees and helping other people that way, great. If you are into nonprofit or giving back into charities, there's all kinds of charities out there that can use lawyers' helps, either to raise money or to provide legal advice. And if there's something that you're super passionate about, make that your tribe. Make that group a group of people that you enjoy hanging out with. That, to me, can be the most fulfilling part of your life. One other thing you have to figure out is whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. And by that, I mean when you go out and you go with groups after a hard day at work, after you've done your athletics, you've done your nutrition right, you've done your work right, and you're out with a group, when you're with that group, does that provide you more energy or does that provide you less energy? For me, if I'm doing a sporting event, I get more energy. But if I'm out in a social aspect, whether it be a charity event or a party, that to me drains me. Not because of anybody there, not because of anybody that I'm with. It's just I'm kind of introverted like that. And while I have a good time, when I come back, I feel less energetic. I feel less fulfilled than I went before. And that's just because I know that's the type of person that I am. You send me out and have me do a yoga class or a soccer game, I feel more fulfilled and I have more energy when I come back from that. That's just the way I am. You have to understand who you are and what it is and what gives you energy and helps you that way. So to get your work-life balance right, you got to get your work where it makes enough money for you to be able to survive. That's your academic, or your, as I did when I was growing up. Then on the athletic side, you've got to get your fitness right. By that, any kind of working out. You got to get your nutrition right. You got to get your body image and your body shape the way you want it to be. And that's the athletic side. And then on the social side, you've got your family, you've got your friends, and you've got your tribes. If you spend more time on one of those three components, the other two will suffer. And that is the balance. That's what I consider to be work-life balance. So if I spend a lot of time in fitness, for example, if I will do a morning workout and then a 2-hour CrossFit workout at lunch, man, my work suffers. I can't be away that much from work 4 or 5 days a week. So I have to be careful about that. If I spend too much time at work, if I spend a 70 or 80-hour week, my tribe suffer, my family suffers, my friends suffer, the groups that I hang out with, I suffer because of that, because I'm not with those groups. They get along fine without me. Don't get me wrong. They're great. They have a great time. But I suffer. And then on athletic, everybody knows what happens if you let your nutrition get out of whack, if you let your calories get out of whack, if you let your fitness get out of whack, where your body image starts to get bad, where you start to gain weight, where your clothes don't fit the way that they used to fit. That's the kind of thing that can also wear on you. And so if you neglect that area while you're spending too much time on the others because you're wanting to reach certain goals, then that hurts too. So the idea is to constantly try and balance those three areas and make them work for you, and find the right balance. Find what your happiness is when you do that. For me, I've come down to, it's changed over time, but for me, the 6 a.m. workout allows me to get in and do my work for the day. So I try and get in at 8 o'clock, and I will have meetings, staff meeting at 9 on Monday and Thursday. I'll try and have breakfast meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday with clients or with friends. And then I got my workouts in the morning. I'll play soccer at night. I'll play soccer on the weekends and try and spend time with my family and do things that my wife wants to do, that I want to do, things that fulfill both of us. I try and do those in that free time. And I like to read, and I like to kind of just recharge. I like getting in kind of a Zen sort of mode and get quiet and just kind of let the day kind of flow out of me in a kind of, they say it's like a cave. You just kind of go in a cave mentally and let some of the stress go for just sometimes an hour, 2 hours. Occasionally, I'll take a full day, a Saturday or Sunday, and just let the world just kind of leave me and get all that stress out. And that's kind of something that I will do. I consider that kind of on the social side. It's not fun really for anybody except me. It just gets me my relief done. So that's work-life balance. So when you can get that right and things are humming and you got all those things going on, it's great. And you become more productive and more happy. One more thing, sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep. You got to find out what works for you. As you get older, you get less sleep. And you can get by with less sleep. My father used to be able to get by in 5 hours. I know Trump says he only sleeps 4 hours. But for me, I got to have at least 7. If I don't have 7, I'm in trouble. I try and get 8. ideally. But with the 6 a.m. workouts, that means I got to go to bed at 9:30, and I miss family and friends when I do that. So that makes it kind of hard. So I kind of balance when I do that. But try and get your sleep right. And that's it. Thanks.